Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're getting into the science behind why so many of us feel completely burned out. And more importantly, we're going to talk about a powerful, evidence-based way to fix it. We're pulling some amazing insights from the book Burnout by Emily and Amelia Nagoski. And we're going to focus on one crucial mistake that almost everyone makes when dealing with stress.
You know, this quote from a teacher named Julie, it might feel a little too real for some of us. And look, she was joking, mostly, but it just perfectly captures that feeling of being so totally exhausted that, crazy ideas start to sound kind of logical. That feeling, that's burnout.
Think about it. You're getting things done. You're crossing stuff off your to-do list, you solve problems, you handle all your responsibilities, you're dealing with all the things. So why? Why does that feeling of being just completely overwhelmed, like you're constantly running in the red, never actually go away? Well, there's a really specific scientific reason for this, and we're going to break it down.
Okay, so the heart of the problem is what the Nagoski sisters call the overwhelm paradox. See, we think we're fighting the right battle, but it turns out we've been missing the real enemy this whole time.
Okay, if you only take one thing away from this, let it be this. This is the big idea. The things that are causing our stress and the actual feeling of stress, they are two completely different things. They're separate. And if you only deal with the problem, you're leaving all that stress to just build up and run wild inside your body.
So to really get this right, we have to know our enemy. We've got to understand the huge difference between the stressor and the stress itself.
All right, let's break this down. On one side, you have the stressor. That's the stuff happening outside of you. The huge project at work, the fight with your partner, the bills piling up. It's the thing you can point to. But then there's the stress. That is the chemical storm that the stressor kicks off inside your body. It's this ancient, deep-seated survival program that's hardwired into our biology. The book gives a great way to think about this from like an evolutionary perspective. Imagine a lion is chasing you. Pretty straightforward, right? That lion is the stressor.
But that feeling, the flood of adrenaline and cortisol, your heart thumping out of your chest, your muscles getting tight, every single part of your body screaming, "Get out of here." That is the stress response.
And the whole point of that chemical dump, as neuroexpert Robert Sapolsky says, is that your muscles are about to go nuts. Your body is getting ready for some serious physical action, to fight or, more likely, to run for your life. And here it is. This is the core problem of our modern lives. You deal with the lion, right? You send that really difficult email. You finish that massive project. You finally get the kids to sleep. The stressor is gone. But you did it all while sitting in a chair. You never ran from anything, so now your body is still swimming in all of those get-ready-for-a-life-or-death chase chemicals, and they have nowhere to go.
This is the secret. You have to complete the stress cycle. You can't just think your way out of it or wish it away. You have to do something that speaks your body's native language. Something that tells your nervous system, on a really primal level, that the threat is over and you are finally safe. You have to complete the cycle.
So how in the world do we actually do that? Well, let's get into the practical, science-backed toolkit. These are the things that actually tell your body, hey, the chase is over, you survived, we're good. Now, physical activity, it's the #1 most efficient way to complete the cycle. Why? Because it's literally what your body was getting ready to do, run from the lion. But it's not the only way, not even close. Things like deep breathing, a quick friendly chat with a stranger, a really good belly laugh, a hug, a cry, making some art. These aren't just fluffy feel-good ideas. They are all scientifically proven ways to signal safety to your body. And get this, think about the power of affection. The research shows that a simple 20-second hug with someone you actually love and trust is long enough to literally change your body's chemistry. It can lower your blood pressure, slow your heart rate, and release oxytocin, which basically tells your brain, it's okay, you made it back to the tribe, you're safe. This is so important. When people say, oh, crying doesn't solve anything? Well, they're kind of missing the entire point. Crying isn't supposed to solve the stressor, the thing that made you upset. It's a biological process to move the stress through and out of your body. It's your body's way of finishing the cycle. So how do you know when it's worked? Don't worry, your body will tell you. You will physically feel a shift. It might be subtle, like you suddenly take a deep, full breath, or your shoulders might drop an inch. It's a real physical sensation of moving from being on and activated to a state of calm.
Okay, so that's how we deal with this stress inside our bodies. But what about the actual lions, the stressors themselves? Let's take a quick look at the part of our brain that's in charge of managing all that.
The authors call this part of our brain the monitor.
And you can kind of think of it like a little project manager living in your head. It's always checking. How much effort are we putting in versus how much progress are we making? And when the effort is way up here, but the progress is way down there, the monitor gets frustrated. It gets angry, and eventually it just feels hopeless.
So there are basically two main ways to keep your monitor happy, and it all boils down to one simple question. Can you control the situation or not? If the answer is yes, if the stressor is controllable, your best bet is what they call planful problem solving. Make a list, come up with a strategy, take one small step. But if the stressor is uncontrollable, like a global pandemic or someone else's bad mood, your strategy has to change. It becomes about positive reappraisal, about finding some meaning or value in the struggle itself.
And all of this, dealing with stress, dealing with stressors, it all builds to this really powerful shift in how we should think about the very idea of wellness.
This right here is the big takeaway. Wellness isn't some perfect, magical destination where you're finally stress-free forever. It's not a state of being. It's a state of action. It is the freedom to move through the totally normal cycles of life, from feeling stressed and activated back to feeling calm and rested, and then doing it all over again.
Look, the goal can't be to eliminate stress from your life. That's just impossible, right? The real goal is to get really confident in your ability to move through the stress when it shows up. It's about knowing you have the tools to always find your way back to safety inside your own body.
And that leaves us with this one last question for you. Now that you know the secret, the difference between dealing with your problems and dealing with your stress, what's one thing you're going to do? Will you have a 2-minute dance party in your kitchen? Go give someone a 20-second hug? Just take a quick walk around the block. The power is officially in your hands.